Alright, on today's video, we are going to be doing the review on the Cyelee Bull Pro. Now, I know what you're thinking right now. Chris, that dot has been out for a long time, and there are hundreds of reviews on YouTube on that optic, and you would be correct. Now, I've worked with Cyelee before. They have sent me out a rifle red dot to review, and they also sent out the Wolf X Pro for a review, but that was about a year and a half ago, and then I never heard from them again after that. But a couple weeks ago, Cyelee reached out to me again on Instagram, and they wanted me to do a review on the Chameleon, which I'm super excited to do. But I asked if they could also send out the Bull Pro because I never got to do a review on one, and it was a dot that I really wanted to do a review on here on the channel. So let's head over to the other bench, get it out of the box, and check it out. Alright, let's take a quick look at the packaging. Cyelee always does a pretty good job on these boxes. Alright, the box top just lifts off. Oh, check that out. We got a Cyelee patch. Got our owner's manual. Got a warning card about covering the ejection port. Alright, we got another card, and this is for if you are having trouble holding zero. Got a Cyelee sticker. Another card showing you how to zero the optic. We got a lens cleaning cloth. And look at that. That is the most screws I've ever seen come with an optic. Not even going to try to tell you how many are in there, but there are a lot. Got a flathead driver and a Torx driver. And we got our optic, and it is wrapped in plastic. And that is everything in the box. Alright, here is our optic. And the battery was already installed. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is actually the first time I've seen one in person. There's the size of the RMR footprint right there. So if you look at the back, you can see how much of this optic hangs out past the base for the RMR footprint. This is wild. Alright, let's go through the specs real quick. This thing has a massive window of 34.5 millimeters by 26 millimeters. The overall length on the optic is 2.1 inches. The width on this is 1.77 inches. And the height on this is 1.5 inches. And this weighs in at 2.4 ounces with the battery. Alright, we got a real simple button design on this. This is your up button and your down button. Now, being that this is the Bull Pro, it has a 3 MOA red dot. There is also a Bull X Pro, and that has the multi-reticle system. Now, this dot is plenty bright. I have it turned up all the way right now. There are 10 brightness settings. 2 of those settings are NV. And I have pretty bad astigmatism, but this dot is starbursting very little, even turned all the way up. This is one of the cleaner dots I've tested on the channel. Now, the housing on the Bull Pro is made out of 7075 T6 aluminum. It does have a matte black finish, and this does have an IPX7 waterproof rating. Now, this does have a side load battery compartment. You just use the flathead screwdriver that came with it to remove the screw. It does run on a CR1632 battery, and it does have a battery life of 50,000 hours, and obviously that is going to be on the lowest setting. The Bull Pro does have shake awake. It will go into standby mode after 4 minutes of sitting still. As soon as you tap the optic or grab whatever it is mounted to, it will automatically turn back on. Now, this does have a coated lens. It is parallax free. It is 1x magnification, and it does have unlimited eye relief. Now, one thing that I always like to do in an unboxing or review video is I do like to test out the windage and elevation on these. I like to see if it is tactile and audible. So let's try the windage first. Okay, these are just smooth turns. They're a little stiff, but there are no clicks, and they are definitely not audible. Now, I've never had an issue with a dot holding 0 because of that. But a lot of guys like the very tactile and audible clicks. This does not have that. Let's see about the elevation. Same with the elevation. It's kind of smooth to turn, but it is stiff. There is some definite resistance there, but it is not tactile and it is not audible. And the last thing I want to cover on this optic, this does come with Cyelee's lifetime warranty. Alright, as soon as I got to the range, I got the optic sighted in, which only took a few shots. I wanted to get a feel for the Walther PDP Pro again because I have not shot it for a long time. And I think that was one of the biggest reasons I wasn't shooting very good groups. And it also didn't help that I was filming reviews with 5 different guns. See, I'm just full of excuses. Now, the first thing I noticed right out the gate was how much I liked having this big, massive window. The glass is very clear. It does have a little bit of that blue tint to it. And the red dot itself was plenty bright enough for the shooting conditions. Alright, this gun is clear, no mag, nothing in the chamber. Let's talk a little more in depth about the red dot itself. Now, I do have astigmatism, so I was getting some starbursting with the dot, especially when it was turned all the way up to the brightest setting. So what I did is I turned it down to about 7 or 8, and that really helped cut down on that starbursting. And even though it was a fairly bright sunny day in Ohio, I was not having any issues with the dot turned down. And the dot was plenty bright enough on the targets that I was shooting the 10-shot groups with, and on the brown USPSA targets. Now, I know we've already talked about how massive the window is on this optic, and this is the Cyelee Oak Plus. This is one of the biggest optics that I've tested on the channel when it comes to window size. But when you put these two side by side, this Cyelee Bull Pro just dwarfs the Oak Plus from Cyelee. Now, one other great thing about having a window this big is when you're moving from one target to the next, it's definitely going to give you an advantage on getting that first shot off on that second target than having an optic with a smaller window. Now, one other awesome feature I want to talk about now that we have this mounted up on the Walther PDP Pro is how small Cyelee made the deck height on this optic. The base on this optic is super short. Now, the reason I bring that up is because a lot of optics have a lot taller base than what this does. This is just really, really short. Now, I do have suppressor height excess sights on this gun, but the Walther PDP Pro does use a plate system. So even though I have the plate under here and then the base of the optic, I am still able to co-witness my sight super easy with this optic. So even if you have shorter iron sights on your pistol, if you have a slide that's direct RMR cut, chances are you're still going to be able to co-witness your iron sights. Now let's talk about the buttons for your brightness level adjustments. The up and down buttons on this optic are very easy to get to. They're very tactile when you push up or down on your brightness level. And one other awesome thing is how they recess those buttons in, which is a really good thing that they did that because this optic is so wide. If those buttons weren't recessed in, it would be very easy to accidentally hit these buttons and start adjusting your brightness level up and down. So they did a really good job on the design with the brightness level adjustment buttons on here. So let's start talking about the pros of the Cyelee Bull Pro. We've already discussed when we were doing the unboxing that it does have a side load battery, which is awesome. It does have the RMR footprint, so it's going to be compatible with a lot of different slides. The base height on this is super short, so it's going to make it really easy to co-witness your iron sights with a lot of different guns. And if you are a competition shooter on a budget, I don't think you can get a better optic than this for your competition gun. Now, even though we did not do any torture testing on this optic in this video, there are a lot of videos out on this optic where they have beat the hell out of this thing and it just keeps going. So there is no doubt that this optic is super rugged. Now, I personally am a fan of just having a red dot or green dot only optic. But if you are one of those people who likes a multi-reticle system, Cyelee does have the Bull Pro out now, and that does have the multi-reticle system. So let's talk about the cons of this optic. Depending on how bad your astigmatism is, you're probably going to get quite a bit of starbursting with this optic, especially if you have it turned all the way up. But like I said, my astigmatism is pretty bad, and as long as I turned this down to 7 or 8, it was fine. And the second thing, which is really not a con, but this is such a massive optic that this is really only going to be good for competition use in the USPSA, IDPA, on your handgun for 3-gun, PCSL, whatever. But I definitely don't think this is going to make a very good carry option. So at the end of the day, I do highly recommend the Cyelee Bull Pro. You are not going to get an optic like this with this big of a window for a better price. And the last thing I'll bring up, if this window is too big for you, Cyelee just came out with an awesome new optic called the Chameleon, and they do have that in a red version and a green version, and it's got a big round window also, but it's more of the size of the SRO from Trijicon. And I absolutely love that optic, and I will have a review video coming out on that very soon. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.